Hello there folks, I'm Dan Brown from a sort of interestinglife.com. You're joining me on board good old Narrowboat Tilly, and today's random chat is really just about being grateful. It's completely different to the video that I already recorded for this week, but as I've moored up randomly next to a monastery, things have got a little bit deeper and a little bit more thoughtful. And really, I'd just like to talk a little bit about where we are today and being grateful for all of the amazing opportunities that boaty life and all that has given me. So, without further ado, let's start waxing lyrical about the great outdoors and all of this stuff that, well, I've been incredibly lucky to experience. Right then, let's flip the camera around and see where we are. Now, if we walk up the steps onto the stern here, first thing you'll probably notice is this is exactly what you expect it to be. Lovely rural place, trees overhanging the canal, ducks and all the rest of it. Pan around, you can see we've got a beautiful day today. Blue sky, fluffy clouds, classic stuff. Then we have got just farmland. And again, this is one of those places where the canal starts to wander off away from Ellesmere into just ever more rural places. How absolutely fantastic is this? It's a little place to start your day, or end it, or spend any time whatsoever. Right then, let's get ourselves back down, because I'm not sure how loud the birds in the trees are. Although saying that, they seem to have completely shut up as soon as they mentioned them. Made them feel self-conscious maybe. As I was saying, this is a completely different video to the original one that I intended for today, as happens a lot with these random chat videos. And basically, what I was going to talk about was biking in and out of work now that the distance is getting a lot longer, and I'm putting in about 10 miles bike ride before I get to work, do an 8-hour shift, fill in shelves, and then another 10 miles out and so on. But I still absolutely love it, and just generally talk about things like that, which really was a similar theme. But what really changed my mind was yesterday when I was just boating up from Ellesmere, and I was intending to go a couple of miles in that direction down to Bettisfield and just really enjoy a nice little boat trip on a beautiful sunny day. But as I was travelling down here and down this stretch, it's only just outside of Ellesmere, and it's somewhere that I've been up and down many times over the past 3 years, and well, even long before I had a boat and so on. Like I say, Ellesmere is one of those places that's local to Oswestry, to go for a drive on a Sunday afternoon, that sort of classic family day out sort of place. And as I was coming down this straight here, I was like, you know what, I've never moored up here. I can't possibly just go straight past it without actually mooring up and just spending a couple of nights over the weekend here, because I'm going to be in work, so I'm going to miss most of it during the daytime. But being able to bike out and bike to somewhere like this as the end of your day, it's just absolutely fantastic. And that's what really sort of got me to think, you know what, I'm going to do this, and going to actually just do a random video talking about loving the outdoors, which I suppose you can say in many ways almost every video I've ever uploaded is similar. And the fact that when I moored up here, I'd completely forgot about the monastery that's literally just behind the hedges, a matter of feet away in that direction. And I think it was 6 o'clock that, a couple of minutes to 6, a random procession of bells started to ring out, and that was when I was like, what on earth's that? Is that some sort of boat coming up? So I went out and had a look, and that's when I realised that the bells were coming from right next to the boat there. And I looked up and it's like, ah, yeah, there's an actual active lived-in monastery here. And that was the moment that it was like, you know what, this is just amazing. I'm literally moored up next to a monastery in the middle of this incredible countryside. And this again, now that we're on the outskirts of Ellesmere, the nearest big place is a good few miles down that way. I'm not sure off the top of my head how many miles, but probably, let's say, for example, might be at 12 miles, maybe further than that. But you've got Whitchurch out sort of around that way. The canal goes down and then turns a corner and goes up there. But basically, now that we're on the way away from Ellesmere, we're just heading into total countryside. And it's another one of these places, if people want to search in Google Maps to look at the places I'm talking about, then I'd say search for Wixle Moss and Bettisfield, places like that. And you'll see, or you might be able to pick out where the canal runs through. but it's literally just the middle of nowhere, and even small villages are like rare and very few and far between out there. And it's one of the places that I just love spending these sort of summery months. And as I travel a bit further down, and then I've got to get Tilly out of the water in Blackburn, Ellesmere can't do it for a few months. So anyway, that's another topic altogether. The basic concept of what I want to communicate here is just how amazing it is. And I know it's certainly not to everybody's taste, and people will be absolutely bored out of their minds doing this sort of thing, but I just love it. And I love being, as I say, the fact that I can turn up to work and do an 8-hour shift of filling shells, but already have done a 10-mile bike ride that morning at like 7 a.m. till 8 a.m. or whatever, in the completely empty roads. And over the weekends, like on a Sunday, you can imagine there's just no traffic around at those sort of hours, especially when you're setting out from these amazing rural places to begin with. And it's like, between Ellesmere and Oswestry, there's a hill known as the Brow on the main road route in. And so it's like literally the first thing that I do on a Sunday morning before the majority of the world is awake, really. Well, obviously not the world, that's taking into account 0 time zones. But basically, wake up and then go down the canal past all the moored up boats, then get onto the main roads, and sometimes you literally won't see any cars in 5 to 10 miles of bike riding from the different places that I commute in and out of work to. And it's like, get to the top of the Brow, and you've just got the Shropshire Plains all over the place. And so the first thing, like within about, maybe I'd say within half an hour of waking up, and that's literally from fast asleep to half an hour later, being on my bike on the top of the Brow, absolutely puffing and panting from the massive hike it is up there. But then you just have that view, totally silent, of the morning light on everything, and you've got the Welsh Hills in the distance. You can see, you know, hometown Oswestry there, nestled in the flats, and it's just, it is just perfect. And one of the moments that really sort of stunned me the other day was when I was biking out after work back to the boat, and this again was that same road and same sort of 9 to 10 mile ride that it is. As I was biking up, because I wanted just a little rest and a little break at the very top, because it's, like you say, I'd already done 10 miles, then 8 hours of on my feet at work, and then another however many miles to that point of bike riding. I was like, whew, you know what, I'm not as fit and not as young as I used to be. And I just stopped at the top, and I turned around, and it's the first time that I turned around at night to see Oswestry just completely lit up by the streetlights, as just this huge pool of light with the little villages dotted around, just in total darkness. And it was just that, wow, this is again one of those moments where, because it was like getting on towards midnight or whatever time it was, you have that just incredible realisation. It's like, look at this, I'm just out here for what seems like no reason if anybody passes me in a car or looks out their window from a house. And I just thought, wow, I'm out here on my way back to the boats as part of a daily life occurrence, as part of a working day basically, looking at Oswestry in total silence, and everything seems really quiet because you're sort of viewing everything so remotely, but because it's so dark you can specifically see in and look and go, oh yeah, that little light there, that must be this place, and that must be down by the leisure centre or the college, and all of these different places that you can start to pick out and figure out where it is. It seems so still and so calm because you're not anywhere near it, and it's almost as if you're in a plane looking down, I suppose, in many ways, just looking from a couple of miles distance at your hometown and these places that you know so well. And it was one of those things that's like, wow, it's something so simple that you never really like give it a thought. But then, for no particular reason, just in that moment, I stopped and I turned around, and because I'd never even contemplated what was behind me while I was biking out back to the boat, it just completely was like, whoa, I'm so used to seeing this as a beautiful countryside scene in the mornings that seeing this in the pitch black of night and how quiet and calm it is, it was a totally different experience. And like I say, I was probably there, only looked at it for like a minute or two, and then got on my bike and carried on down to the canal. And then you get to the canal and all the boats are quiet, there's a couple of chimneys smoking as you're pedalling along, and it's like I always say, these are so stereotypical and so ridiculously old style, romantic, over the top images of what boat life is and all that sort of stuff. but it's actually something that I get to do, and I get to see it an awful lot, and that's what I just find just, well, it's what I can never be grateful enough for. And I try and capture in these videos loads of these moments and tell you all about, oh yeah, look at this place here, and look at these places, and oh yeah, I love this place because it's where I grew up, and I've been walking around with my friends looking for geocaches, and all of these different experiences that I've had and been lucky enough to have are now, just like I say, part of the sort of unthinking motion of a daily occurrence. And I mean, over the past weekends, the amount of biking that I've done has just been ridiculous. As I was biking in and out, I did 3 days where I biked in and out, either to go into town and get some internet stuff done, videos uploaded, comments and messages and stuff like that responded to. Then 2 days of 8-hour shifts in between the 20 miles of bike riding a day. And then after that, it was a case of, what do I want to do today? Oh, I know, I'll bike into town, do some stuff there, and then bike out to my friend's house for a haircut. And in the end, after, I think it was 5 days of biking and working and all the rest of it, that I was like, you know what? I haven't got the energy to do this. And I stayed at my friend's house overnight, biked back into town, which was about 5 miles, and had a load of supplies and stuff that I wanted to get. So I thought, right, I'm just going to get them, pile myself up with bags of all sorts of like non-perishable items, and then just get the bus back out to Ellesmere and walk down to the boat. And well, as I've said before, you know that if I'm deciding that it's too far to bike and that I've done an awful lot of biking and I can't bike any further, you know that it's got to be an awful lot. And just being out on the boat for these last couple of days without having my bike, so I can't go off and overdo it and so on, and the only actual means of getting around is by boots. Again, that's been fantastic, because I've been just wandering up into the fields and wandering into Ellesmere to where the actual mere itself is, and then you've got Blakemere and Colmere about a mile or two up that direction, and it's just brilliant. It really is. Like I say, I mean, in weather like this in particular, these are things that I could never have imagined how much I would love it. And as I've talked about, I've loved me walking and biking and just generally being outdoors and filming things for many years, and it was the whole driver behind the boat. And in fact, yesterday I was having this very conversation with somebody else who was saying about like, on their proper big working boat, about how do you find it having such a small area at the back to be in while you're on the boat and so on. And I've said the line then that I've said many times, that it's not really about the actual boat itself, it's like where the boat is. And I mean, just, well, let's put it into context. Over the start of the year, the first 2 weeks of the year, I was working on the like final frantic, complete last edit version of Dan's Narrowboat Life, ready for that to go online and be published. And that was total chaos. I had my nan proofreading it and going through and doing little corrections to the spelling and grammar and stuff. I was myself going through wildly cutting pieces out and editing little lines and putting bits in, and so then I had to like marry the two up, and it was just, it was, as I say, I mean, I absolutely love me writing, but in the final month and the final couple of weeks before one of my books comes out, it's so much frantic work and over the top, and I really just absolutely love it. But because of that, and because needing the internet to make sure the files are uploaded and everything's working properly, and needing a proper sort of desktop internet experience to do that on, it meant that I was constantly in and out of town, or constantly up the road at my friend's house from where my winter mooring is. So the first 2 weeks of the year, I was like just an absentee boater, and it was just that thing of when I actually got out to the boat and I'd be biking out and it'd be like pitch black from about probably 5 to 5:30 at night because it was the middle of winter, and just getting out to the boat, lighting the fire, and then just being on board for the night, waking up first thing and then biking up, or biking into town, or walking up to my friend's house to do another good set of hours doing book stuff. It was fantastic. And just having those experiences to break up being in town, and like I've always said, if I had to move back into a house or do anything that wasn't specifically just being on a boat for not most of the time, because as I say, most of the time I want to be off out and doing stuff and out with my friends or driving up to some hill to walk up. And I'm hoping this year over the summer to spend a lot more time at my nan and granddad's caravan on the coast and getting the kayak on the sea again more. And there's so many different things to talk about that I could get distracted with at this moment, but basically just being able to, well, as I was saying, the point that I was making, that even if I had to go back and live in a house full-time forevermore, I would always have a boat, I think, because it's just too good to get out and be places like this. And the idea of being able to do that for the amount of time that I do it is absolutely mind-boggling. And why now, we're coming up to the 3rd year of me being on Tilly, and the fact that every year that passes and I get more relaxed and more settled and figure out more and more about where I can be and what I like to do in those areas, and then for the next couple of months I start to imagine, oh yeah, when it's June I'm going to be at this point, and then July I'll be here, but I need to get out of the water for blacking, so perhaps in August she's going to be all the way back over here, and then I'll do a big trip back out to get to where I wanted to be again. And just being able to plan and think about these places and think about these things, and like I say, trying to combine that with the writing that I do, so that when I have time off work I'm at the furthest point away from town, so I don't have to worry about biking in and out and stopping at my mum's house or stopping at my friends' houses, because I can't possibly bike that distance, then do work and then go out in the night and then do it again the following morning and so on. And just trying to plan things like that and maximise the actual experience I can have in these different areas. It just sort of, as I get more and more used to it, really underlines and highlights how much and how incredibly lucky I've been to just do this sort of stuff. And like I say, I mean, I don't know if this is just another boring video of me talking about loving the outdoors and that, but I do. It's great. I can't get enough of it. I've just noticed at this point in the video how dark I am appearing because the light and the sunlight in the background is so bright. So I apologise for that in this video. But the basic principle, the basic point is just me talking about stuff. So I'm sure you're not going to be too upset about not being able to see this face nice and clearly and really super close to the camera. But as I was saying though, it's just all about these experiences. And to talk about this particular spot itself, it's like just through the tunnel there you've got Blakemere, absolutely beautiful scenery, and you'll see it in videos I've done before and in videos that I'll be uploading in the next couple of weeks, I'm sure. Then you've got, well, just randomly, when I was at Tetchell, I'm not sure if it was last year or the year before, but I was moored up about a mile or so out on the outskirts of Ellesmere. And again, like after work, I'd biked out to the boat, and then in the evening I thought, oh, what am I going to do? I know, I'll get on my bike again and just put in another couple of miles. So biked down the country lanes and came up to Ellesmere, bought a bottle of pop or something from a shop, and then I biked up the towpath to here just to have a look and just see what was going on and what boats were about. And while I was biking back down that way, just in that field there was a fox completely in the open, just running for his life across. And he stopped at one point and looked back across at me, because I was the only moving thing around, I assume. And it was like that moment of like, we just had a couple of seconds where we were just looking at each other, and I'm like, oh, it's a fox! Wow, this is awesome! I've seen foxes a couple of times in the past, but never just in the total, complete and utter open of a field. And it was running and running back into the trees, and it was one of those moments that I was like, wow, this is genuinely amazing, and the sort of moment that I can look back on in years to come and probably shed a tear of how I ever actually managed to live this life and so on. And like I say, it's just tiny things like that. And I mean, up at Blakemere is where I've seen, apart from on the Montgomery Canal, I've probably seen more kingfishers over the summer months on that sort of part of the canal, from Blakemere just down and around the corner for the next sort of 2 or 3 miles. And I'm only talking like maybe seen them like 3 or 4 times down there. But there was one time where But there was one time in particular where I was boating down towards Welsh Fountain, Bettisfield, that direction. And kingfishers, you normally see them zip past, and by the time you've realised what it is, you like run to the window, or you quickly look out of the back door or through the front and so on, and you just see it zip off and see like the glimmer of the sort of greeny blue metallic colour, and it's like, wow, kingfisher. But this one particular time last year when I was boating down there, it kept perching and then zipping down a little bit further and perching again at the side of the canal. And it literally at one point zigzagged from one branch on one side to the other and then back again a couple of times. And it was just like, I cannot believe that I'm getting to see this on a boat in this beautiful countryside setting. And again, I mean, the fact that even after talking for 20 minutes in this video, I'm still getting and hearing my voice get more and more intense and frantic and excited. And I mean, there's just so many things like that I can never explain to you how amazing and how perfect these moments are. And the fact that I get to share them with so many people, and I mean, there's 9,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel now. I know that I say it all the time, but I mean, how crazy is that? That there's literally 150,000 views a month coming in now. I mean, the fact that I can have these experiences and then a lot of the time point the camera around and say, "Oh, look at this. This is where we are today, and this is why it's so good and why I love it," and all the rest of it, and then post it on YouTube and see after maybe a month or two that maybe a couple of thousand people have looked at it. It's just crazy. So thank you. Thank everything. And as I say, the idea of mooring up a boat just on a whim because I couldn't resist and couldn't possibly go past this without thinking, you know what, another weekend just on the outskirts of Ellesmere with this beautiful, just perfect countryside at as your view, waking up, going to bed, looking out of the window while you're making your dinner and having a cup of soup in the evenings and so on, and just all of these random day-to-day experiences, but with that as your backdrop. I absolutely love it. Anyway, I think that I've whittled on quite enough in this video, so I'm gonna, oh yeah, and what I was gonna say, the whole extra thing, like I say, having all of that, but then randomly suddenly hearing bells ringing and being like, what on earth's that? And then realising, oh yeah, I'm next to a monastery. I mean, an actual active monastery in this day and age, right next to the canal, sandwiched between the canal and Ellesmere, the big lake of the mere itself. Fantastic. Anyway, on that note, I will say thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Please check out my other videos for proper actual outdoors videos and seeing more of the scenery, boating, biking, kayaking, walking, goodness knows what else. And really, just thank you for everything. Like I say, thank you for all the support. Okay, sorry about the random cut in the video at this point, as rather embarrassingly the camera ran out of battery and the iPod itself just completely switched off mid-sentence. So, as I was about to say, just thank you very much for everything and for the support, and as I was saying, please do check out my other videos if you're new to these videos, but if this is the first of my videos that you've watched and you've made it to this length and this distance into the video, then well done, congratulations, that's quite some feat. But please do check out my videos. Please do consider checking out my books available for the Kindle. Search Amazon for The Narrowboat Lad or find links to them all in the description. Please do also consider checking out my audiobook entitled The Narrowboat Lad. It's an audiobook of the first book. And I mean, just thank you for everything. And like I say, I mean, stuff like the reviews and the ratings that the audiobook's been getting, I mean, it's just incredible. And a lot of you can probably get it for free as well, which I keep saying. Please do consider getting it for free if you can. If you sign up to Audible with a free trial account, then you can. And it's what I've done with different credit cards on different, different bank cards on different accounts in the past, is sign up with a new account to get a free book and then cancel the subscription and stuff like that. So even if you want to get my book like that, I just want people to listen to it. So please do consider checking that out. I suppose on that note, I'll just say, as I say, always feel free to add me on Facebook and like the Facebook page. Loads of pictures of stuff like what's out there right now. Until the next time though, have a fantastic day, have a great week, have a great summer. It'll obviously depend on where you are in the world, summer might not be coming up, but have a great couple of months anyway. Until the next time though, just thanks for watching, keep it boat worthy, and until the next time, farewell.